Welcome down the warp pipe. 2022 is finally here, even though it seems like 2021 was a blip on the radar. But that means it's time for our New Year's gaming resolutions. I want to let you know about mine, which is to beat more of my backlog than I purchased new games this year. And let's lay out some of the strategies I've built up and plan to employ in order to do my best to win the battle of the backlog. In case you're new, I'm Ty, but if not, it's great to see you again. Let me know down below in the comments what your gaming resolution is for this new year. So like all the best things in gaming, there's going to be a 3-part breakdown, and first starting us off is going to be the topic of bringing balance. So the last half of 2021 saw me purchasing a whole slew of games, both new and old, that I wanted to get to at some point in the future. That future is now. This means that I'm not going to be purchasing games unless I plan on playing them right when I purchase them. Not that everything is going to be put off, as I do plan on playing Sifu and Elden Ring right away, but there's other games that are coming out like Horizon Forbidden West, which are gonna get pushed off until some point when they're on sale, and I have some free time to actually put into them. Now, part of bringing balance is actually linked directly to our second point, remembering retro. Up until recently, those systems behind me here were not actually hooked up. Unfortunately, now I have no excuse but to actually play those systems, especially the Dreamcast games, and I need to remember retro for this year and not just play the latest releases. Last, but not certainly least, we have the third plan of attack here, and this is the most comprehensive. So I'm actually going to break this third point down into its own 3-part segment, but it's going to be called save slots. Very similar to a PlayStation memory card. These bad boys have a limited number of slots on them that ultimately you need to delete older games in order to start newer saves. It means that as I beat games, I can offload them and put them in. Let's take a look at this diagram here. First up is going to be single player games. These are games that I'm playing by myself and just for myself. Most importantly, I can actually put one of these games on pause, but the key note that I've also done with this is that in choosing the games, I will be specific in terms of which games I decide to actually fully explore. I'll give you an example. When I decided to pause Yakuza Like a Dragon and jump over to Dead Rising 4, I actually decided to go through Dead Rising 4's main story with very few deviations. Unless a side activity popped right in front of my face and offered a substantial reward for the time investment, I decided that I would just plow through that single player story portion of the game. So how'd this experiment go? It actually went phenomenally well. I actually got through Dead Rising 4 in about 10 hours or so. This means that rather than spending 30 hours, which is 3 times the amount of time, getting diminished returns, I was actually able to get a good, fun, cohesive holiday experience of slaughtering a bunch of zombies and get back to a bigger game that I care more about. This applies to the next category of games as well, co-op or multiplayer games. What these games allow me to do is be social, interact with friends that I don't live super close to, and especially these days, allow us to all kind of keep in contact a little here and there, grinding out those last few little things from games like Fall Guys for its season pass, or for games like Marvel's Avengers with their raid loot. In 2022, I'm saying no to battle passes and predatory practices with grinding in these games. I'm going to just make sure that I'm not investing a whole lot of time into these games that aren't going to give me a whole lot back. It's got to be a give and take, two-way road if you will. This last category is very similar, and it's what I call partner games. These are games that you're playing with a partner in your life. Whether it's a best friend who's not into gaming, or wife, husband, kid, cat, dog, Goomba, you name it. They're not always the games that you want at the forefront of your experience, but in my case, I'm actually really happy to go through Unravel 2 and Super Mario 3D Worlds with my wife. But I'd highly recommend focusing on one game at a time here, so that the person who's less experienced in gaming, that is if they are, get a better experience and build up their skill level while going through the game little by little, rather than confusing them by game swapping. Something that myself, I'm quite comfortable with, but I know not everyone is. If you want to battle your backlog, you have to be willing to put those people ahead of games you want to play. Because ultimately, getting the people you care about into games and getting them to appreciate them and play them with you, whether it's their own game or something they can play alongside you, is going to be a great way to share your hobby, share the things that you really like and really enjoy spending your time doing, and ultimately, get them off your back when they want to play their own games. The core lesson here is that you need to go and find a good time management system. For me, the save slot system. Okay, now I need to find some pants.